You have it. You heard that spicy, flame against Scandinavia coming out from Brandonite. He thinks that they're going to just easy 2-0 them. He thinks that they have the easiest part of the bracket heading into the semifinals. So without further ado, let's see if he's all talk or if he can back it up with his gameplay in that mid lane. So as we get into this, what are some, we talked, the France-Germany draft is a little different, I think, because these players are just totally different in terms of who they're prioritizing. Who are we expecting to see here?
I mean, I think we're still going to be seeing a lot of Rampage. I think he's in a great spot right now. But I think you're going to see some Steel work his way inside this draft. We saw some Steel bans last series from Team France. He's just been since last patch just another character. Talked about that CC lockdown. Right now, I think Steel is also a very strong frontliner. Not very probably in the support role. I don't think Steel's a very good support, but I think him in the offlane or him in the jungle, being able to facilitate picking the right heroes around him will be very useful going in.
Here you can see that like England were already like they have a strat, like they don't even let us time to talk because like in less than 1 second they lock on the ban. It was Zarus, and that was like the two characters I wanted to talk about. Like in scrims they really heavily prioritized the Rictor and the rest, and that rest has most of the time gone into the hands of Brandonite in the mid lane. They love this double carry comp with the Rictor, and so they kind of play like at that distance that if you dive on them, there is a Rictor to reception you, and if you don't dive, well, there is a Rictor to hook you, and it makes the game like very, very hard to play. Instead of Scandinavia, we secured Terra's first pick. F6 was talking about the steal, and also the Argus, maybe to be able to be a little bit aggressive because maybe they think that this rest can go mid, and being able like to CC a rest when your junglers come, suddenly that's a good way to get a rest kill.
Yeah, this Argus pickup is he also offers a slight flexibility. I often call him discount decker, so there is that flexibility in that duo lane, but you probably don't want to be doing that up against a Richter. That's not an ideal matchup. Richter is known for punishing Arguses. However, this might not be a Richter support because we're seeing a Zinx now come out. Where do you think Richter's going to go?
More than likely inside the jungle, but he's very strong inside the offlane currently as well. Like Mugi pointed out inside the last series, Richter right now is an absolute menace. That slight buff just allows for him to now be in multiple different lanes. Beforehand, you really couldn't really put him inside the offlane. In the jungle, still able to work, but right now he's just able to fit a lot of different roles, a lot of fit everywhere. And I think he's just probably going to be inside either jungle or the offlane. Probably not as support right now, especially with that Zinx pickup. Something I do want to point out is that Murdoch ban. A lot of people have been seeing the kind of just establishment of Murdoch. He's just being able to be played very well right now. He's very sustainable. He's probably the most consistent ADC. He's not the greatest, but he's not the worst, but he's very good into most team comps, right?
And that's also something I love to point out about England is like England has players that are very experienced and they love to think about draft in like a deeper level. It's pretty basic here, but yeah, we go for the Murdoch ban, but also because like no carries are being selected, we already have remove rest from the table because we're gonna play that mid. Then we can remove a carry, and then because we are first pick after, we can remove another carry. And so overall, we remove like 3 carries out of the pool to be taken, and so suddenly you can really constrain the amount of carry remaining and maybe forcing like a very bad matchup for the side of Scandinavia.
Oh, and yeah, and as you said, we see the Sparrow come out. It's been a hot minute since we've seen Sparrow in any of these upper level competitive games. Generally, you see the crutch with the Sparrow phase, but she doesn't really have that crutch to kind of enable her. So this is not a fantastic matchup from my opinion. I would have rather seen like a Kira, someone who has self-peel and can kind of create space on their own instead of relying on, I don't know, Steel or Argus or whoever is going to be providing that support in that duo lane. But we also see a slightly spicy pick coming out from England to wrap up the draft with the Countess. Interesting pick. But boys, before we hop into this time 5 words or less. Based on the draft alone, who do you think has this?
England, tank, Countess.
England, carry too strong.
Well, there you have it. The desk thinks that England is going to take this. England thinks England is going to take this based on that interview. we're going to find out here as we hand it over to Spooky Mars and Falcon. Take it away, boys.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shadow, and the rest of the desk, of course. What a draft we've got ahead of us. Falcon, you're an England boy yourself here as we head into Scandinavia versus England. I'm sure you've got your thoughts here. My eyes go to this Sparrow. I am so excited to finally see this one come out, especially in the hands of Sparrow only. This has got to be a banger here.
I'm not sure if it's going to be a banger. It certainly could be. I'm not that surprised it's a Sparrow. I'm going to be honest, especially when you've taken so many off the board. The Drongo, Murdoch, Wave probably being the top 3 ADCs at the moment in time. I'm not sure how much Trim Blast or the likes of Revenant Sparrow only has played, so falling back on to that pick that is named after makes total sense to me. I don't think it's very good of a pick, but I do understand why they have picked it. The question for me though is the Countess. What build are they going to go on it? Where actually is it? Because it could go into that offlane, could go into that jungle. It is going to be on the jungle. The Bond Druid is going to be piloting the Victor in the offlane. And I do think it is going to be this Bruiser Countess. We can already see they have the Warlock Crest picked up. So you're going to be seeing the Tempest, going to be seeing maybe even a Fire Blossom and just trying to survive those team fights for as long as possible on import and let those double carries do the work.
You heard F6 call it out. He wants to see the tank Countess coming in, but we're already seeing 5-man grouping, possible rotation into the enemy jungle here. England, maybe looking to get things started off quickly. We're not going to see too much action. It's going to drop the wards here and pull back. I do want to turn our eyes a little bit to this duo lane, just because I think this is going to be on.
I don't think
lane.
you can.
Going in deep here. Might not be the best place in the world.
He can't execute, but I think he's going to get away. But either way, he's going to be massively delayed, and we can already see Penguin just rotating over. I think that's Bandit Knight with that name. I'm not entirely sure if Lee could tell me, but Flame Token is going to get back to his team and isn't going to be able to get the reset, isn't going to be able to get the sweeper, so it's not going to be the ideal back for him, but he has got his HP available, he has got his life available, so it's certainly not the worst in the world. Put the ward down on blue as well, so he's going to be able to see when import goes over to that. So in terms of the early game, an interesting one. Nothing actually happened, but the laning phase has begun.
Yeah, certainly a little runaround. Perhaps Flame not starting exactly where he wanted to, but nothing lost, because all is well for now. This duo lane, tried to talk about it a little bit here. I do feel like if there's a game you're going to pick Sparrow in, this isn't the worst one to do it. I mean, how many threats does Sparrow only really have on the enemy side? There's this Richter. That's kind of a general threat, can pull anyone out of position. We're not seeing like a Chimera in the jungle or a Rampage can just jump on top of her. This Countess isn't as tanky as those picks in the early game. How much of a problem do you think this Sparrow only is going to have? Well, he's already pretty low, so...
I mean, that HP bar kind of just tells the story in itself. Penguin and Julie is going to have so much poke in this lane. Import going for the gank, level 3 against Skirless is level 2. Bonded is also level 2. The blink is available.
Pull, not going to pull him back. Import goes in deep, looks for the dive. Not going to be enough. He's going to go all the way forward and picks up the kill. Guileless goes down as England picks up a first blood. It's quickly returned. Back in the mid lane, Wraith falls. Flame picks it up and returns the favor for that little jaunt through the jungle.
First blood gold was given over to England. It's going to depend on what the junglers can do, because we see Flame looking for the invade, whilst Import is going to have to reset himself. He wasn't the healthiest, hasn't got much mana, has finally gone for the back. The 4-cam was pulled by Flame, but he is retreating, going back towards the red side of England's jungle because Bandit Knight had respawned. The death timers are not long enough to justify going for that, as well as the fact that Import had reset, had gone for the defensive play, and Flame Token probably going for the safe option there. It is delayed slightly, but he doesn't lose anything overall because Import didn't actually invade himself. Looking back at this duo lane, we see Sparrow only has regened that HP, but I imagine he hasn't got any of those HP buffs left. So now Penguin and Julie can play to sustain game. They can play for that poke, and then anytime that Jimmy goes for the engage, they can reset, back off, use the infuse from Penguin to get the HP back, and then poke once again.
That's one thing we haven't really had too much of a chance to talk about is this Zinx now in the game. Wasn't there in the initial stages of the tournament. Now has that whole extra layer of healing, protection on the team. Import lurking around. Like Scandinavia's wise two things. How much of impact do you think this Zinx has on the game as a whole as we progress from the early stages over towards the late?
It's going to depend on how well Penguin is at Zinx. I do see he has got that crown, so has been putting the time into it. And if he can get those Nero Regenesis, those ultimates revives on the key targets, on this Drongo, on this Wraith, then he's going to be in such a good position, especially just the fact that he can do so much in lane as well. Import kill for no again on Gildas.
And Guileless decided to step forward, tries to take the fight to Bond Judah. He's going to stand here in the mini wave, try to get the kill, but he's going real low, and he's not going to find any success for his efforts. Import sends him back, deports Guileless from the off lane.
I like Import rotating over, knowing that Gildas didn't have the blink available, wasn't able to get out. Though the amount of minions the Scandinavian offlaner had to his availability meant that he nearly got the trade. At the very least, I do like how he went for it. I don't think you escape in that situation, especially against the likes of a Countess. But it's going to be 2 deaths for Gildas on this Terror. He's still going to be a Terror. He's still going to be able to do stuff come the mid-late games, especially once he gets that ultimate. But being behind is going to be a big problem. Plus, Import got both of those kills. As that Brimstone online is going towards that Fire Blossom. And, I mean, that's 2 stacks on his passive already.
Now, I'm going to see a little exchange in this dual lane. Flame makes rotation over. They're already far back, but there's very low health bar on Julie Latina. Use the blink, gets back under the tower just fine for now. Barrow takes some trades himself. Not gonna see too much bloodshed over here in the left side of the map. However, Import's gonna run right into Flame as he tries to make his way away from that gank. Let eyes back. Brandon Knight also on the rotation. He's in stealth right now. Gonna wear off before he gets up there. You see a full clash. Import chasing this one deep, looking to get under behind the enemy tower. Drops the damage. Simi trying to make rotation in, but the damage is too much, and Penguin picks it up. That kill goes to the Zinx.
I think that's just coordination between the two teams. We saw the dual lane after that successful gank that Julie went so low in. Flame immediately backed off. Semi went in once again, and Sparrow only wasn't there to support him. That meant the dual lane was too low, and Julie and Penguin were able to push back up. They were in position for then Import to rotate over and catch the likes of this Krang. So now they got the early to kill. They've got the Fang 2 from it because there was no lane pressure from the mid lane or from the dual lane of Scandinavia that they could easily go for this. Mini Prime is now just spawned, so Scandinavia can't even go for that. And Bondroot once again is bullying Guileless in this off lane, but we can see Argus rotating over.
Yeah, we see him come over. Calypto looking to maybe try to help out Guileless a little bit. He's had a lot of pressure on him. Now I'm going to try to turn some pressure back. Bondroot instantly blinks away. That's going to be the stop of everything. And Import, once again, makes his presence known on the left side as this all goes down on the right. Sparrow only got to survive, hang on to his life. He's lost his support. That does not feel good as a Sparrow.
It certainly does not. And the minion wave is really, really big from the side of England. Penguin is quite low, hasn't got that ultimate available. Sparrow only, neither has the piercing shot either, so he isn't able to go for that cheeky kill onto Penguin. But I do like how Julie and Penguin are backing off. They know that going for the tower at this stage of the game is very, very hard, especially the fact they haven't got the first item. It's only turned 8 minutes, so the reductions on the towers have only just been removed. And Simi had respawned. He was nearly back in the lane, so they've gone for the reset. They got the gold buff. Now I believe most likely Julie has Vanquisher online for the level 6 power spike, which means that Import probably is going to go over to that dual lane once again very soon. Has got that Fire Blossom online, has 4 of 100% kill participation, 3 of the 4 kills on this contest. So he has, I believe it's going to be 2% lifesteal per stack. So that is already quite a lot.
Yeah, so far, Import has been make his presence known. He's been very effective so far. Going that tanky build has not shown any drop-off on the damage whatsoever. As this game goes on, though, I mean, I look at the drafts on both sides, and to me, Scandinavia feels like they want to get this one to a late game, right? They've got Sparrow on their side, Gale's really well, they've got a good front line. But I look over and I see the Zinx, and I have to wonder how many problems that will commend. Though being committed to under the tower, Import goes on deep, but he's not able to find the kill on this one. And knockup, just enough to keep the Argus alive. So, looking at this whole thing, how well do you think Scandinavia actually scales here? Right? Maybe making a rotation on the Import. This could be a big shutdown if they're trying to find it. Guileless comes in and well, but the blink is still there. Flame goes in deep, but Import blinks right back onto Calypso, and Argus finally puts him down. You've run enough, my friend. You're finally gonna sit down. Scandinavia gets a big kill on that one, but it's not over yet. Brandon Knight now in duress. Guileless running at him. Blink comes through, and Guileless has nothing to follow him up with. Flame already low. Onto it, also in the area. Runs into the man and puts the jungler back in his place. Sends him back to his turn. Calypso also in some danger. Penguin finds another kill as well. He's made the rotation. And this Bloodbath Falcon, it simply keeps on going.
Which part do we want to talk about? Do we want to talk about Bonju dying at the start there? Do we want to talk about Import nearly escaping with his life, trying to get the return? There is so much action in there. We're just going to have to condense it down slightly before the next thing happens. I do like the rotation from Guileless and Flame. Once they killed Bonju, who had no blink, they managed to get the shutdown onto Import, which was the most vital part of that entire thing, because that was a sizable shutdown. However, the rotation from Penguin was enough to get at least 2 kills in return, and because of how long that fight lasted, Bondrewd respawned. He was able to get back. He managed to kill Flame. Now they can get onto this mini fight with Bondrewd and Import here. They have the Slay from the Hunt. It is going to be secured using that. That is going to go on to Import, which I think is the correct decision. Bondrewd is having a decent game on this Richter, but it is still a Richter. He doesn't really need it. He's not going to be able to bully this Terra that hard, even with a mini farm. So give it to Import, let them impact as many lanes as they can, and even get further ahead with this Countess.
So far, it feels like anytime Scandinavia finds an opportunity to get active on this map, England is right there to shut it down and take back more than what Scandinavia can get. It looked like a pretty decent fight for Scandinavia. They looked like they were grouping up well and had a chance to get a pick there. But Import comes in, Penguin makes their rotation all the way from the left side. England is just so consistently stopping Scandinavia's aggression, getting so much more out. We've only just seen Brandon Knight's blink get forced out almost 10 minutes into the game. The safety that these guys have right now is unparalleled, and it really feels like it's stopping Scandinavia from finding anything to work with.
But Scandinavia have all 5 members at this Fangtooth, and you said they have just used the blinks. Those blinks are not back up. Import and Brandon Knight don't have them. Julie is the only one of England who's here who has the blink. This is quite dangerous. Scandinavia gets the easy pickup, and now Import's going to be collected by 4 members of Scandinavia.
Alice goes on in first. Still looking for a little bit more fight. Import being aggressed on. Sparrow only makes the run up. Not able to find too many shots in. Up and down. Shield slam does good work, but he leaves Import. Penguin has drawn the aggro away. Flame finally finishes the job. Guileless continues trying to run down the rest of the team here. Flame makes rotation in, but Julie shuts Guileless down. What a skewer coming out from Bond Druid. It stops everything. The fight is over. Scandinavia tries to push too far forward, and they get slapped back into place.
Scandinavia had such a good start. They got the burn on the Fangtooth, and they were able to turn on Import, who was left alone. The new Genesis was used on Import, but Scandinavia once again had such good patience, waited for it to run out, despite Import just basically running at them. Got the kill on the jungler, but then went way too hard. They didn't see that Bonju was rotating from the solo side. There's a ward in the river. They should have been able to see it. And with that first Bondrewd there with the double skewer, the double carry composition of England was just pushing out so much damage that Scandinavia walked down, they fell down, and then lost the mid tower for it.
Yeah, they end up dropping a kill. They get a kill for themselves. They got a Fangtooth. But you give up so much in return for that. You have to ask yourself, was it worth it? And the answer in this case, Falcon, it's very clear. No, it was not. Grabbing that Fangtooth and then trading kills and losing your tier 1, it opens up so much of the map for England now to play so much more aggressively. So far, we haven't seen a lot of aggression from them. We've seen Import, sure, make those rotations and get some pressure for his team. But it's been a lot of Scandinavia moving forward, trying to find the fights, and England simply answering that aggression with patience. Now, the tide is shifting. This is their opportunity to start going aggressive, and Calypto going to be the first recipient of that. Drops the other crystal, gets himself out of danger. He lost half his health. On right side, Guileless trying to pay Von Druid back for the ruination of their fight in mid, but he's not able to take that step under the tower. Von Druid keeps his life.
I think he was just worried of the skewer, but I mean, I don't really know why Gillis didn't go for it. I think he had ultimate available during that period of time. It was still active, and just 2 more autos would have been enough to kill it. But playing safe instead, looking to see if he can push the tower, but knowing that Import is not on the map at the moment, and the amount of wards Scandinavia has on the opposite side of the map shows he's definitely not there. He's going to play safe and go for the side buff, go for the reset, make sure that he isn't caught out, because he is going to be a big threat in this fight. Level 10 now, has the same level as Bondrude, but it is still going to be a thing. But Gillis actually has stayed. Import has made a rotation. The hook has missed Gillis, now level 11.
He's in a bad spot. Import coming around behind him. Guileless is running back to his tower. Has to make the long run back. Skewer gets dropped, but Guileless still over half health. But now they're committing under the tower. Half health. No, sir. No health. Bondruid picks up that kill for himself. Guileless just not tanky enough. Flame tries to answer on the left side, but there's just no opportunity.
I mean, I was saying Garlis was making the right decisions, and then he just stayed and made that completely irrelevant. Now he is dead. He's not going to have any sort of loss from that in terms of objectives, but just able to have the rotation come in from England. Bondrude Import is going to find Flame Token. Banjo Knight is going to fight. It's going to be a 3v2.
He's here, Shield Slam brings him down, but it's still a 3v2. Flame trying to find a way out. He's already lost most of his health, and there's just nowhere for him to go. Bondrude reminds him that that tower is not there, and Penguin picks up the kill.
Another kill for England, just going from the pick on Guileless. They were able to get the players rotated into the mid lane, and Scandinavia just a bit too pissed off, not respecting the rotation coming in. And this entire time, Julie's just pushing this dual lane as well. The tower's not going to go down because Semi and Sparrow only are there. And now we nearly hit that third Fangtooth. We see I'm just seeing if there's any big pickups realistically. Brandlight has got that Vanguard online, so he's going to be hitting like a truck. Import as well, gone for the Magnify, has been buffed on this patch, going to have a bit more extra magic resistance shred, so he's going to be doing a decent amount of damage, which is nice. Calipito getting caught out slightly, but there's multiple members of Scandinavia here. He's not going to be in too much danger.
One who is in quite a bit of danger, that's Flame Pokin. He is not doing super well right now. Guileless gonna come around. Look at Bonju, and Simi goes hard, going in deep onto the tank here, but I don't know how well this fight's gonna work out for them. Import in the back, putting a lot of damage back out. Simi goes down in an instant. Guileless trying to push 3 away, try to get his team some space here. Bonju somehow still alive, finally goes down as Import chasing Flame around in the back. Somehow hadn't gotten the kill just yet. Guileless still just acting as the wall as Import continues his rampage through the back end. Argus goes into the stasis, but how long will that keep you alive? Exactly as long as the stasis lasts. He goes down. Sparrow only, next target. Brandonite fires through the wall, takes him down. What a disastrous fight for Scandinavia, and once again, one that they started.
And that was in a 5v4 situation as well. Julie just took 2 towers during that, so they have so much money on the back end. Import going to get the mini prime as well. Now England can reset, look for that second Fangtooth for themselves, set themselves up for the primal quite nicely. And I don't understand how that that game plan worked. It was the case that it was a 5v4. Guileless was pushing onto Brandonite, and I mean, Import was just surviving on the back line because he had Fire Blossom and Magnify and was just healing the equivalent of a sun. I don't know what that means, but that basically means how much he was healing. And Bonjour was also just surviving. The damage wasn't coming out. I don't know if Sparrow only was just targeting the wrong people. I don't know if Calipito wasn't in the fight. I would love to see a replay of that at some point in another time. But that does mean England gets the second Fang 2 for themselves, get that extra out of combat movement speed. And if we look at the objectives on the map, it's going to be 40 seconds until that orb prime spawns. There's 2 tier 2 towers for them to take. And Scandinavia, they need to bunker down. They need to just keep farming up, make sure this Sparrow, this Argus, can get as many items, as much XP on them as possible before this next team fight, because those are the ones that are going to do the damage. Those are the ones that are going to deal with Import, deal with Bondrude. And if they can't deal with the front line, Julie and Badger are just going to eat them alive.
I mean, let's just look at the current map state, right? Even before that fight, 2 towers down for Scandinavia. They haven't taken any of England's for themselves. It's Fangtooth to Fangtooth, but England also had that mini prime as well. On top of the sheer kill deficit, the gold has to be stacked in favor of England right now. And that's what we saw in that fight, right? A 5v4 advantage was not enough to overcome the gold deficit they were working with. Now Guileless, once again, trying to start a fight up, has to clear out because he gets a sniff, a little whiff of Import hanging around. He knows he wants no part of that.
Well, they import the entire England squad. The All Prime has spawned. He's got to know that there was multiple people. Now Penguin, though, is on his own. Bondrude is nearby. We can see that 2 members, the 2 important members, Julie and Import, have reset. This has a chance with Scandinavia, but I don't know if they know that England had done some resets. They can get in, get some wards done, and once again, we have a fight in that solo lane. Golas and Bondrude, and Julie is going to catch 2 people here.
And that's like 3 hits and Simi is half health. Isn't that supposed to be a tank steal? Running for his life right now. And the rest of England simply walking up towards them. The crystal gets dropped. Penguin goes up into the sky, avoids the shield slam entirely. Import in the back might finally get his comeuppance. Goes down. Flame gets the credit for that one. Eyeless, very low health, but looking for a flank. Flame still stepping forward. Oh no! Julie picks him up, reminds him that your health is not infinite, my friend. Now England wants to take a step forward because the rest of those health bars looking pretty low. And Brandonite does them a favor and reduces them to 0. Calipito tries to make the difference, but he cannot do enough. Scandinavia, again, questionable positioning, and they get punished for it so hard.
Import was taken down, yes, but Julie and Branchonite were left untouched. Bondrude and Penguin are going to have enough healing to probably survive this. They have got that double ADC. Drongo, one of the best takers of the All Prime again. Guileless is here. He's going to go for the 1v4. I don't know if you go for this, man, but you're going to try.
Yeah, that little bit of damage that was put out, enough to send him away, but it does actually stop England from taking the Orb Prime. Guileless did his job there. Bondrude, very low. Penguin, pretty low. Didn't want to risk the interference from Guileless. You know what? That's enough. If you can stop that Orb Prime from being taken and going onto all 5 members without a fight from your team, you take that as a win in this situation.
100% take that as a win. I do think England did decide to back off as well because they didn't have Import there yet. The jungler wasn't available, so if Golas did stay around, it might have been a 50-50, very low 50-50 chance, but Scandinavia did have a chance of stealing it. So England going for the 90%, 100% plays at the moment. There's no need to do anything risky. They have a large kill lead. They probably have a decent minion lead as well, especially I imagine quite a big experience lead. I'm just trying to look across the board. Julie 2 levels up. We can see that Vandalite is a level up as well. Import is the same level, and actually Bondrude is leveled out, so the XP lead isn't that big. It's just on this carry. Julie being left alone for the last 20 minutes, just farming up, but Drongo is a big threat now, and Bondrude once again finding 2 people. The rest of England is here.
And Scandinavia should be aware to just back off. That's finally what they're doing here. They're not trying to start a fight with just Bondrude in the jungle here. They recognize England is all en route. Step back. Don't overcommit like they've been doing the last couple fights. I like this restraint a lot more. This is what they need to do. But Guileless, if you're careful not to step up too far, you got 2 more people rotating. Make that 3 more people. Why not just bring the whole team at that point? Guileless, you can try to run, but Import all the way behind. Flash might not hit, but Penguin right there waiting for him. Puts him at half health. Now Julie, though, is left behind as a result, and Calipino finds a big pick. That could be massive for their fight potential. However, Timmy goes hard, goes down. Now it's a tough fight for Scandinavia. They gotta try to find something, but England is all over them. The numbers might be too much. Guileless is weaving, but it's not gonna keep him alive. Cali goes down, and just like that, every member of Scandinavia goes to the gray screen. That's an easy orb prime.
That is certainly an easy all-time, and that was Scandinavia's chance. They got Julie, they got the Drongo now. It's been farming for 20 minutes. England leaving behind their carry. That was a big shutdown, a big issue from Penguin, just not being next to their carry, having that ultimate available. But Brandon Knight was still alive. If she got 2 carries, it doesn't matter if one of them dies because she got the backup one. And in this case, this backup is 9, 1, and 8. That is the all prime secured by England. They are going to make it hightailing out of there. Their HP bars are not the highest in the game. Brandon Knight has a 730 bounty on him, 4.5 items completed. The Demolisher now online. There is not a single person on this map who can survive this wave combo, and this should be an easy primal Fangtooth take as well. There is a decent amount of damage, but because of Import's tanky build, and the fact that Bondroid has got multiple items on this Victor, even though it's not there, he'll be there in a moment, don't worry about that. But Scandinavia, they need to look for this charge while it's at 4v5, but Julie's just doing so much damage.
Guileless already too low to be in this fight. Gotta take the step forward anyway. Risky move. And is able to buy enough time to get himself back. Simi playing the guard for his team, but it's Flame who pays the price for it. Import simply running through everything. Doesn't care about the tanks. Doesn't care if you've got CC. He's gonna do the damage. Your stasis isn't gonna save your life. And it's gonna be a 3rd Fangtooth now for England. And that is the primal on top.
And that was not even close. Not a single member of England went below half there. They just walked on the Scandinavia and decided, you're going to die now. And then that is what happened, even off screen. Brandon Knight assassinated Sparrow only. And I mean, that was probably just a... So we got another attack by Bondroid though. He's taking a lot out in town. Primal has been taken. And Simi is dead from, imagine Primal Bleed. But yeah, that's not good.
That's an easy tier 2 going down. Inhibitors now the targets for England. This is going to be clinical for them. They know their targets. They know their objectives. Going to take this down, crack open that base. It's a matter of whether they want to go for the game end or if they think they need to bring down the rest of the inhibitors first. You can see already the positioning says they're going to go ahead, take this inhibitor, open things up just a little bit more for themselves. Keep Scandinavia back in the base. Make sure they can't put up a defense.
They can't take the last inhibitor. The wave was pushed out by Guileless, who has now reset. There is 5 members of Scandinavia alive just now. Simi has just respawned, but there's 2 orb prime waves pushing on this core. There is a primal Fangtooth on all 5 members. Scandinavia have to go for the defense here.
Scandinavia gonna have to dig their heels in deep, try to draw a line in the sand, because England wants to take this game. The Nexus, the core, under attack. Shield Slam comes in, but it's not gonna be enough. It's too little, too late. England takes game number 1 in a dominating fashion.
The composition was just so good. Brandon Knight 10, 1, and 9 on this Wraith. Julie Latina having a 256 CS as well on this Drongo. There was no one on the side of Scandinavia that could actually deal with this double carry comp and Import in the early game. Even though Countess is a pretty scaling type champion, it was just almost like he was playing a Kalavi. He was just going for that gank after gank after gank and just racking up those kills, and as soon as he got to that mid game, transitioned into just being that annoying character, going onto the back line, making sure that Scandinavia can't really focus the carries of England. And from there, they took objective after objective and just won the game.
It truly felt like Scandinavia was going for a kind of protect the president style composition, had some tanks, had that Sparrow to scale up, but unfortunately, those tanks were not tanking any damage, Falcon. They were taking damage, but they were feeling it a lot more than they were absorbing it.
That is certainly for sure. We saw Simi multiple times be there and then not be there. So that's kind of how the game went, especially once those tanks did fall down. The Sparrow and the Argus have no HP compared to those two and fell down as quickly and just didn't have enough damage to return it. But, I mean, there's still a game too. Scandinavia can still come back and we'll have to see if they do.
This is not the end of the road for Scandinavia by any means. England still has to take one more game. Scandinavia can push it to 3. They're still in things for now. Can do it for us for right now. We'll be back.
Oh, look at that. We got F6 discount version back. Welcome back, everybody. That was game 1 between England and Scandinavia. I'm joined this time on the desk for a post-game analysis with Junior, so not actually F6, and Wawa again. Boys, I'm going to give you a very open question here before we go to break. For the winners, what went right? Or for the losers, what went wrong? Hit me with it. Junior.
I mean, I would like to just mention that I was kind of lost in Askarov, so sorry. I'm back. But for what I was able to see from my little window in the dungeon was that England was playing way better around the jungler. They had a counters, which is like not the common and very default jungle pick, but they just made it look way too easy.
Yeah, I feel like it's always surprising, but I feel like England just like know better what the game is about. There is so many times we see that they were chasing for like 5 seconds, like we see this run with contest running, and then we have a Zings behind, and most team would say like, okay, the kill is not there, but England know the kill is still there. They chase for 5 seconds, then they finally fire their ability and they kill the target. And so that's how like they took very good game knowledge, knowing their spike, knowing when the kill is there, when the kill is not there. Rotation was overall better. It seems that they were doing everything slightly ahead of Scandinavia. And then when it comes to team fight, well, the problem is like Scandinavia had nothing to be able to go to the rest. And I don't feel like England has a protect the president comp. I just feel like they have like too many threats that we cannot afford to spend resources to kill the rest. But any people that play in competitive know that if the rest is still alive after the initial part of the team fight is done, this team is going to win a team fight because rest is going to clean up everything.
Yeah, that Brandonite Wraith, he was at one point, I don't even remember his final score, but at one point he was 9-1 and 8 or something, which means he had over 60% of the kill participation. He was everywhere all at once, cleaning everything up. We will dive into a little bit more detail about what Scandinavia needs to do. Well, before that, quickly look at his stats. He doesn't win a lot on Wraith, but he certainly does very well on the hero. He has a decent CS per minute for the hero who doesn't have insane wave clear. He has a lot of kill participation, but again, 45% win rate. Part of that's probably due to the nature of playing Wraith in public games where people don't really know how to play around that hero, especially around objective fights. But we will go into a little bit more detail about what Scandinavia is going to need to do to be successful and come out on top in game 2 against this really strong England team when we come back after this break. That was an interview of all time for sure. I'm speechless at that. That was just all over the place, but I love it. That's why we're here, just to have fun, but also to represent our countries. And it's interesting seeing the multi-love that Ruano was able to bring out. But here we are getting into the draft for game 2. Let's see if Scandinavia can make the changes that they need to, knocking out that Rampage, getting it out of the way early, just like in the first draft. But here, England banning out the Terra, knocking that out. I guess Guileless might have put fear in their hearts. I doubt it though, considering the way Guileless was playing in game 1. But yeah, what are we expecting in this matchup now?
Well, I'm now, to no surprise to anyone, we've seen a Richter pick 1. The Richter is a very, very good pick in any scrim. He's kind of prioritized with Rampage or even Zings / Kwang. Those 4 are kind of good. So I did expect a Rave coming in because Brandon has just been gaming, and worst case, they just give it to either 7-1 or Julie. I'm not aware who's playing the ADC role for them in the coming game. And Zings on 2 is, I mean, this is just a playback of last game. And to be fair, I need a beefy frontline. I need a Sevrok being picked here by Scandinavia. Otherwise, this is going to look doomed. Oh, what do you think, Ricky?
I think that's kind of explain why the Terra ban. I think like England really are interested into Richter, Zinx, and Res. And so based on what was the first pick, they're going to pick the other two. And also removing Terra from Guileless mean that maybe we're going to see Guileless on Feng Mao. To be fair, Feng Mao against Res. And so we see like the Guileless Feng Mao most likely. Can be interesting. The problem is Zinx is there as well, and Zinx can stop what Feng Mao wants to do because suddenly you don't get your reset and everything kind of start to fall apart. Also, we do have the Twin Blast. So Twin Blasts, once again, I hope this Richter is going maybe jungle because like Richter Twin Blast lane, I feel like it's horrible. I don't like that combination at all. You like a lot of damage, but we know Richter is playable in the jungle, so that could be interesting.
And this Crunch pickup, again, it's a nice flex, right? He can be in the jungle, he can be in the off lane. I know I've seen Import play Crunch, and Import, the way that his team plays around him, the way that he enables all three lanes seemingly simultaneously. Crunch is a fantastic hero to do that with because of the gap close that he offers, the CC control, just the raw damage output that he puts. So if I am Scandinavia, I am quaking in my boots, even though I got Guileless, his one trick hero. But from the side of England, they did ban out the Argus. I guess they realized that matchup into Wraith was kind of slowing down his ability to snowball. So maybe that's the thought process behind that. I'm not really certain. Maybe they just really want to ensure Brandonite is just totally enabled to have a game similar to game 1.
Yeah, I agree. They do want to play around Brandonite again. He's been proving to be a fearsome player, and at the same time, he just does not respect his opponents. In the terminology of his positioning, sorry, I'm not saying he's disrespectful. He just plays inside of the enemy team, and then just gets Import and Penguin to both just play around him in these weird fights. They make them just look way too easy. And going into this next round, them locking in the jungle is going to make it even less playable for Richter or Feng Mao. In this case, I'm kind of worried because I don't know what the answer would be. In my opinion, it would be a Sevrok, but Crunch being in the team of England makes it very hard for him to lane. And if FaZe going in, opting for a safe dual lane, that is kind of shaky. I've never seen a Grim even mid. What is happening? Like, what is happening?
Yeah, I think that probably they tried to go for the carry mid, like to counter the rest. Like I think that's the goal here. But I also like think something that is very scary is like Feng Mao or Richter in offlane. Of course, Feng Mao guileless, but if we go Feng Mao and we go against a Crunch on Bond Root, like this Feng Mao cannot play the game.
Yeah.
But if it's against a Richter, suddenly like the Richter can counter the Crunch. And so I feel like there is probably like some swap and mindset. The problem is I don't know if guileless play Richter, and so maybe this like thing is not gonna like happen.
And there's the Severog, as Junior called out so expertly. They now have that front line that they were desperately lacking through the rest of their draft. But the Scandinavia draft is this Grim. So when we usually see Grim Wraith in the duo lane, Wraith tends to be a really good answer to the Grim because he outranges him. He like the shield doesn't really matter that much. He can just keep his distance and poke instead of getting ran down by the W key. I don't know enough about how this matchup works in the mid lane, but I'd anticipate it's quite similar, with the exception that Grim has that lane pressure to be able to get priority for these objectives. But I'm not seeing a team fight here from Scandinavia. So this is going to be interesting. 5 words or less. I think we lost Junior. He might be back in time to give us 5 words, but 5 words or less, Mugi. Who are you giving this game to and why?
Give it to England, but maybe Feng Mao mid solution.
Ooh, spice. We love spice. I have a feeling Junior would say England because Penguin and Crunch. But yeah, without further ado, let's find out who comes out on top here. We're going to toss it over to Spooky Mars and Falcon again for game 2 of England versus Scandinavia. Take it away, boys.
Well, with tough times come tough answers, I suppose. Scandinavia certainly cooking something up with this draft to try to get something back up over England here. Falcon, I mean, you see it. Everyone's seen it. What are you thinking? Is this the Grim mid? Is it going to be like a Twin Blast mid with Grim going long lane? What's going on here?
Well, And looking at it, my brain, it might be because I've been up since 6 a.m., but it's not really computing that much. Don't do that. It's terrible on a Saturday. But I kind of hope it's actually a trim blast mid. And just because Brandon Knight is going to be playing as Wraith, and it's all going to be laning against a Wraith. Grim, I mean, yeah, his hitbox was reduced. He's still a Fritz. He's still so easy to hit. There's not knocks on. And I believe Scandinavia is changing some players around. So Simi is going to be playing mid in this game. And it's going to be really hard to lane against a Wraith as a Grim. But traditionally, you would probably see the Grim in the mid in this composition. But I hope that's not the case. And it isn't, because we see Simi is playing the Trim Blast.
Your prayers have been answered, Falcon. And if I'm being honest, I think I kind of prefer this as well. Simi taking this Twin Blast to the mid lane just feels a little bit better. Let that Grim sit over in the long lane, scale up, get farm online. You already saw Julie Latina loves sitting on that lane, loves farming up. I think had the highest CS in that first match. You have to be able to answer that some way, somehow. Whether this is the answer that's going to be able to do that remains to be seen. Callie misses the first Riplash. We're going to keep a running counter of that. That's your job, Falcon. But overall, not too different from the first game here. See some aggressive positioning from England on that right side as well. Just getting vision down. Trying to keep eyes on where this jungler is going to be.
Yeah, they have got the ward on the red buff, so they are going to see that Calipito is going to be starting next to his solo lane. You can see 2 wards as well by the 2 camp of England. So a few wards are out in this early game. We're going to see what they can pick up. But pretty standard jungle starts on both sides. Going to be starting on red either end. And just going back to Scandinavia, we can see Flame is going to be playing the phase in the support. We've got Calipito back in the jungle and Simi in the mid. This is something that Scandinavia is a bit more comfortable with. They haven't been able to scrim that much with Flame. Already, Brandon Knight is getting the advantage against the Simi. The Vaporize is going to come out, do a decent amount now. So knock is going to do even more. Brandon Knight and trying to move forwards and has got to that ward. Simi is going to back out. No, he's going to go for another one. This is dangerous.
Simi very low already. Blink comes forward. Brandon Knight wants this first blood kill. Simi standing on a ward, trying to trade back. Both health bars very low, but here comes Import, and it's going to be enough. He doesn't even need Import. Brandon Knight finds the first solo kill. Level 1, baby. We're already starting off strong as England.
That was incredibly stupid by both people there. That was such a long level 1 fight. We can see that Brandon Knight has gone to that level 2. It's not going to be that much gold as a kill goes through. I do kind of wish they let Import get it, because Import didn't actually get an assist at all. Didn't get any damage down on to Simi, but it's going to be mainly down to the experience and just having that gold. We can see that Simi hasn't been able to actually buy anything, hasn't got that Soul Chalice or even a Mana Crystal on his first pack, whilst Brandon Knight is going to be able to probably get the Soul Chalice on the first pack, but it's going to be very potent for this Wraith as he farms up. Gil is already pushing on to the solo side. Bondrude is going to have probably quite a bit of pain in this solo side. Crunch does counter Feng Mao quite well, but that is a guileless Feng Mao. But Julie has a kill on Sparrow only.
Import coming in on the mid lane as well. Simi in a lot of trouble. He just cannot catch a break here. Brandon Knight once again getting a second kill. Already 3 on the board. 2 to Brandon Knight, 1 to Julie over on the left side. England is coming out of the gates roaring.
They are going as they ended the last game. Brandon Knight getting those kills online. We saw how much damage he did last game with being a bit fed. Now to go for the invade onto the blue buff. On the other side, Calipito is going for the enemy's blue buff, but it's already down. I'm not sure if Calipito actually is able to get it. I think Import went his own blue into the mid, into the enemy blue. So that's going to put him quite far ahead of Calipito. Same level, actually a level behind at the moment. I think that's because he shared the experience of the enemy blue buff with his dual lane, so he didn't get that much from it. And it might have been the case that Calipito did get the blue. I know he definitely got the free camp. I'm not entirely sure. I wasn't paying attention to the map at that stage. Now the dual lane of England have to be careful. They haven't got much mana, haven't got much HP. Sparrow only has died, but he's still got a lot of damage.
Flame continuing the aggressive position. He wants to get a little bit more. Blink comes out from Julie and gets enough space. Now looking at Penguin, but the fight has split. Flame has gone for Julie, finally gets that kill. Sparrow just needs one more shot at the Penguin, but he can't quite find it. He finds it at the end. 1-1 for both ADC and support. Now Scandinavia has 2 to answer the 3.
Import is on the way. Sparrow only has no blink. The subjugate is going to be so easy to hit. He doesn't go for it. He's going for the movement first. Gets the siphon. The subjugate does eventually go through, but there's too many minions with Scandinavia. Import is still only level 4. Still a 7-1. He can't get enough damage to actually be a kill threat. So now Scandinavia can reset. They are going to be a bit delayed on it, and it is going to allow England to pick up that wave. Fangtooth has now spawned. Same with Robust. Calipito looking in the mid lane.
So far, Cali's been rather quiet in this jungle, and I won't say that's necessarily his fault as much as it's just Brandonite and Import focusing Simi. Now, maybe looking at focusing Cali, has to blink away. The aggression in this mid lane so far has been unparalleled from Import and Brandonite. They are carrying so much momentum. Speaking of momentum, Flame remembers the kill he just got, and they want to take a little bit more. Sparrow only just needs one more shot. Lob comes through, connect on the Penguin, and Sparrow picks up a second kill for himself, a third for Scandinavia. It's starting to look like this dual lane might be the answer.
Scandinavia need to make sure they prioritize the dual lane now. They already have 2 kills on Grim. Gallus can survive for himself. He's a Feng Mao. He doesn't need assistance in this lane. Calipito should be ganking that dual lane whenever he can, but stays going for the invade because of the solo lane pressure once again, and that also means that Import isn't going to get as much farm. And Gyalos is looking the same with Calipito. They're going to see if they can get a tower dive, but Grandjude has just ticked over to level 6. It is very dangerous to gank, and we see Brandonite going through the river as well.
Second Riplash, seen miss, and Bon Druid continue the aggression. Import is here as well. Cali's trying to find a way back out, but he simply launches himself back into the rest of the team. Import right there waiting for him. Cali's got nowhere to go as Brandonite also makes the rotation. Slow is good, and Bon Druid throws a quick 1-2 punch, picks up the kill. 4th on the board for England. The aggression that Import and Brandonite bring, it just does not stop.
And that's because they had so much control over the mid lane. Brandonite has been basically untouched in it. Had the first rotation, Simi wasn't able to look for a counter rotation, and as soon as they saw the tower dive come through, as soon as they saw Bondwood hit level 6, they knew they could just pull the trigger. Gylus was able to escape pretty easily as Feng Mao, but the Richter is just a walking tank. He doesn't have any mobility once he is in, and through that they got another kill online, and I believe that was on Bondwood, so that's going to help him as well in this lane, give him a few more items, and see if he can actually deal with this Feng Mao. Now he has ticked over that level 6, has those enhanced abilities, and I mean, there's been a lot of kills, no real objectives taken in this early game, but that's just because we've got 2 tanks as junglers.
Now, so far, it's been a lot of fighting. Hasn't really resulted in too much just yet. Game still remains very close. We've seen some Import counter jungling come through, some invades have happened to try to get a lead that way. So far, everything is still neck and neck. Scandinavia didn't have the best start here, but they're certainly fighting back into it very effectively. I have to ask you, Falcon, where do you think they need to go, shift this momentum more into their favor, try to get a more firm grip on this game? It might be Bondruid here getting ganked, but the dance continues.
I mean, Calipito has the skill, he has the ultimate available, Bondruid has the double dash. I think he's just waiting for the cooldowns. This entire time, England has already started the Fangtooth because of how much time Scandinavia are taking on this solo side. They are going for the mini prime, and there's no one really able to contest this Fangtooth. It is going to be an easy pickup for England that makes sure Scandinavia do get out with this phase, but Bondruid is looking against at this mini prime. He has backed off, so it is going to be a objective for a objective. I do think they're going to give this over to Gylus. There's no real threat. Bondruid is looking around. He might go for a sneaky steal. We're going to have to see.
Come on in here. He's not going to be able to do it. Bondruid, though, is going to start the aggression. Skewer comes through. Holding on to Bondruid is Import. Makes the rotation in. Cali going to be the sacrifice. He will go down. Make no mistake. Brandonite picks that one up, but Gylus gets on out with that mini prime buff.
I think you'll find with that Scandinavia, Gallus got the buff, and you have the dual lane pressure because multiple members of England have rotated over to that mini prime. Julie is under half HP. They can't really contest this tower. Van Knight wants to get pushing on the mid lane, but he hasn't got the best wave clear on this wave. He's got very good cure, but just no real good AoE. So only in Flame Cure can level 6 on both sides. They can just go for a straight ultimate, and they're just walking down Julie. The GTFO is going to be enough. That's going to be another kill on the fridge.
Flame Pokin just pushing Penguin away from that fight. Simi is going to go down once again. Calipto finds the Rip Flash. That should be all it needs to get the kill. Oh no, he whips his way around. Somehow Brandon Knight gets on out of that one. That is so heart-wrenching for Calipito.
He's looking for the back end, but Brandon Knight is going for a good back. I can already hear in the team comms Brandon Knight laughing his ass off after that escape, but they do get the first tier 1 tower of the game on the side of that dual lane. We got a really good job. Calipito is not escaping that one. Goodbye.
Yeah, he's gonna fall right back down. Import's gonna help him out, give him a little lift up. But Brandon Knight comes on forward, gets the kill, and Bon Druid on the right side actually gets a solo kill onto Gylus as well. Scandinavia, we're finding some fight back. Starting to slip up for them here, Falcon. Again, I really feel like there should be more attention paid towards this duo lane.
They really should be, but they've just been pushed up every single time, and I don't think Scandinavia have a chance to actually look for it. I think instead Sparrow only and Flame Pokin should have been moving towards the mid lane more often, seeing if they can get any sort of purchase on this Wraith, because the Brandon Knight, I mean, we've seen it time and time again, he plays so aggressively, he plays on the tower line now and again, and Scandinavia should be able to punish that, but they just haven't. And going back as well to the solo kill in the solo side, Gylus still had mini prime at that time. I'm not entirely sure how Bondrewd got the kill. It might have been the case that Gylus went for the tower dive, but that is a big buff removed for Scandinavia, so that's going to be only one lane winning for them, and 2 lanes, I mean, not hard losing. The mid lane is pretty dire at this point, let's be honest, but at least on the solo side, Gylus can still play the Fang Mao, but he's going to have a lot more trouble now.
Flame making a rotation over. Penguin is here as well. Gonna stop him from getting into that lane very easily at all. So far, England's kept very good control of this game. Playing the objective game well. They're measuring their aggression. It really feels like Scandinavia is struggling to find an answer here. The dual lane's been looking good, but they've been left on their own. And I like that idea on paper. You know, if that lane is already winning, try to get some help to the ones that are struggling. Try to get them to parity or ahead. Problem is, it's not working, right? All those efforts are in vain, and sometimes you're even costing yourself the Fang Tooth by having Calipito spend so much time on that right side. On Druid, he having a small trade, but again, nothing happens over there. There's so little kill potential on that right side right now. It just feels like there's no value in being there.
It gives me the feeling that Scandinavia know that Gylus is playing his one trick. They're trying to get him ahead, but it's just not working because Concept is so strong, has gone towards the mid lane. Van Knight is going to go low. The Earthstat is going to go for 1 kill. The Neural Disruptor or Neural Regenerator was not available. That's going to be a 1-for-1 in the end, though. The fight continues.
Flash doesn't quite connect. That's just going to allow England to take their steps back and reset from the fight. Then late burn from Simi doesn't find too much value, but keep your eyes on Bon Druid. For the flank, comes on in, finds Flame, knocks him up. Power's doing some damage, but here's the subjugate, puts the damage down, roots him right in place for Julie to find the final shot.
Such a good objective as well, knowing that if they go for the phase, there's no pull available. Phase can't pull herself out of danger, so gets the stun, gets knocked up, followed by the subjugate, getting that CC chain, and they saw that there was no blink available. Even if there was, I don't think Flame Pokin has the blink currently, but a nice extra kill. It's not going to lead to anything because the Fang Tooth has the spawn. Scandinavia are all still back on the board. Calipito this time, congratulations, you managed to get over that wall. You're going to survive for now, but the rest of England are over here. They have 5 members. Scandinavia only have 4. Gylus should be able to get the tier 1 tower whilst this is happening, but how much are they going to lose?
There's no way Scandinavia has any opportunity to defend this one. Look, Sparrow only has just now finished up the gold buff. Simi just now coming into the mid lane. They're giving that one up for free. have to get this tower. Not likely to get much else off of that. The tier 2's too far away, too healthy. And frankly, Guileless, still level 9. He's not in a position to be taking towers down that quickly. It's just a free objective for England again.
Yeah, it's the second factory for first tier tower. I do think England, if they went mid, they probably wouldn't able to take the tier 1 tower in mid as well. There was only Simi there to defend it. If they had the double ADC plus the Zinx's Marshall available, that tower should go down pretty fast. But they're going for the safe play once again, knowing that there was a large wave in the dual lane, making sure that Julie once again gets as much farm as possible. Guileless returning to his lane and walking into a crunch. Bondru trying to do as much damage as he can, but hasn't got the burst potential on this crunch. Tries to go for those elongated fights. Kali's coming in.
Blink already expended. Blink for blink. Kali drops the skewer. Guileless comes right on in. Doesn't find the execute, but they do find the kill. And you will take that one. But Import and Brandon Knight have made the rotation. Subjugate roots them down. And oh my goodness, throws them out. Calipito now in some danger, but he's back there to the tower. Simi comes in, looking to try to go hard, but he's been put a lot of damage down. Finally, Brandon Knight eats the dirt. They finally get that shutdown. And that is a big one for Scandinavia.
That's a huge one as well. And this play felt like Scandinavia was just turning the tides on England. This is what England were doing so much of last game. Just playing with the numbers, knowing that they had the advantage, but Scandinavia, they got the first over there. They got the kill on Bondrud, and then Brandon Knight and Import, they were just too further pushed up. They didn't have the people there while Scandinavia did, so an extra few kills as well as that shutdown. Now Mini Prime has respawned, I believe. Guileless and Flamepoke are still here. I think the overdrive is available. Guileless is going in.
We're gonna look for Import here. Root coming through, root for root. Kali has also returned to this. He can find a Riplash. It could be huge. Guileless, the one leading the charge. And it's full! Penguin back! What a hook from long range. It's not quite enough damage, but Guileless finally finishes the job. That's a massive pick for Scandinavia, and it opens up the mini prime for him.
And Import is below half HP as well. He can't really contest. He can stay around. Julie also has to be in trouble because they are pushing at the midway. Semi is coming over. Julie really needs to back off. She is in quite a lot of danger. She can't really take the tower this fast. They should be able to get the tier 1 tower in the Dura lane. We see that Guileless is rotating over to Bondrud, but that mini prime is on Sparrow only. 3, 1, and 2, 130 CS. Has 2 items completed. Has that core of the Strike Splitter tainted round, which his basically core on Grim just has that extra on hit damage plus the extra magic damage on the tainted as well, means that he can do a ton of damage. We'll just to see what he goes next, but the rest of England now are taking over. The subjugate does hit, but the rest of the damage is not anywhere there to be found.
And no worries from Sparrow there whatsoever. Knew he was still leashed to his phase, but now Kali has missed a Riplash. That could be a signal for England to go on in. Import looking for a little bit. Subjugates 2. Simi in a bad spot. Julie instantly shrapnels them to death. Skewer comes out, but it's only buying their team a little bit of time. Sparrow only in a terrible spot. Flame cannot do a lot to keep him alive, but the blink is good, and he finds a return kill. Guileless comes in on the back, puts one in the dirt. Can he keep on going? He finds one. Can he keep on going? One not gonna hit, but he's done so much work in this fight. Import is on the ropes. The root coming through. It does find the work. Guileless has turned the fight around. 12 to 12.
You call a one trick for a reason. There was a reason Calipito was ganking this lane non-stop. It's because they know Guileless can do this once he is online. He just got, I believe, 3 or 4 kills in that exchange. I do think the last one was stolen by Flame, but it doesn't matter. He has 2,500 gold just from that. He can reset. He can buy another full item and get to this Fangtooth. Now Scandinavia, they are a threat in this game. Now they can play this game. England are going to have to be wary of this Feng Mao.
Guileless just put on an absolute performance in that fight. That was dire straits, Falcon, for Scandinavia. That fight was horrible for them. Guileless absolutely clinched it and just saved the entire game on that one. That could have spiraled so terribly. Simi still in some trouble here. He's been under duress a lot in this game. Gylus is here. He wants to repeat the performance, but they're not going to let that one happen. Instantly blow him up. Do not allow him to get going on these fights.
So that's called an ego check right there. That's what happens when you get a quadra kill and then immediately die in the next one. So that is going to be the third factory for England unless a miracle happens, which it does not. England are going to be escaping there. So Scandinavia, they got ahead of themselves right there. They were thinking that they were ahead when they are still not. They were even at best, and that's only on Gylus and Sparrow only. Simi had no right to be that pushed up, and now they've lost the tier 1 tower in the mid as well. The warp fight is spawning in 10 seconds. There's no real chance that England are going to go for that this early on. Sparrow only, they can fight Julie here.
Can definitely take the fight, and Julie is well aware of that, not looking to try to take those trades, not interested in the extra damage that this Grim can put out. I like the idea from Gylus to step up there and try to protect his mid laner, but you have to realize that you're just more valuable at that point. Simi has been doing his best, but he has been having a great game so far. He's been under a lot of pressure, and he's just not worth that much gold to England right now. You can let that one die and keep a hold of your bounty. Instead, we now see England with 3 Fang Teeth. Flame wanting to get aggressive. Gylus right there behind him. The ahead of him as he charges forward, but recognizing a little bit too much, Scandinavia pulls back, regroup. This Orb Prime is going to be the next play point to focus on.
It has got that enemy online, has got that silence, and recently Gylus needs to try and kill Penguin, because if he goes on someone else, as Mugi put in the before this game began in the draft, if Penguin can get the ultimate off that res off on the target that Gylus is targeting, that means the ult reset isn't going to be there. That means Gylus is not going to be useful. He's not going to get caught out by 3 members, has to weaken dash, but the subjugate hits.
He is not in a good spot. He's going to be knocked back into the rest of the team. And there is Brandonite right there waiting for him. He's not going to be the one picking that one up. Julie gets the credit. Now this could cascade into more. Callie holds Bon Druid in. Skewer comes through, but it only hits Bon Druid. Simi going hard. Tries to get the kill. Finally does the work. Now Import pushing forward. Have to answer. Scandinavia is split on this fight, but so is England. Simi trying to find a way around. Trying to put Import out of this fight. Focusing too long, too hard on the one target, and Brandonite puts the rest of his team in the dirt. England easily takes control of this pit.
And with Ziggs, there's no need to reset. They can go for this AWP immediately. Penguin should have enough healing to keep the likes of Import and Bondwood alive. Once again, Gylus just getting caught out by 3 members. You start reading that maybe a bit too early to try and escape. Gets hit by the subjugate, hits by the silence. Didn't have a blink available. That is the AWP secured by England. They are going for the reset. And then once the Fang Mao dies, there's no real comeback for the side of Scandinavia. Semi's just doing 0 damage against the likes of Import at this stage of the game, even though he was on probably 200 to 300 HP, just not able to secure it. The rest of the team getting brought down by this crunch by Bondrude, with Julie and Penguin just backing him up, making sure they have the damage available. Brandonite on the edges, using that knock once again to do as much damage as he can. Now the All Prime is secured. They have a lot of objectives to take on the map. Both towers in the solar side still alive for Scandinavia. The tier 2s on the other lanes. They can push every single lane, probably get all of those. I'm not sure if they will go for the inhibitors. It might be not enough time on the buff, but we'll have to see.
And one thing that I think is kind of undersold in this game so far is Penguin on this Zinx. All the effort was put into killing Bond Druid, and it was for nothing. Because Penguin just presses one single button, says, oh, you think you're going to kill him? Disagree. Here, he's actually healthier now. And it just completely invalidates everything that was put in. Calipito gonna get caught out here. Doesn't have a great way out of this. Hits the... Oh, no! Oh, back by Brandonite's ultimate! That's terrible! Instantly dies. And now a 4v5 situation for Scandinavia against 5 with Orb Prime. You can't defend these towers. All you can do is take a step back and defend at your inhibitors.
Yeah, Scandinavia just need to acknowledge that they can't defend these. Gylus hasn't acknowledged that. He's around the back. He's looking for Julie, and he's going to get the assassinate off, but the ultimate from Penguin!
unbelievable. The guillotine has been stayed. Penguin, the phenomenal ult, makes Skyless into a terrible situation. As Simi goes hard, trying to put some damage back out, finally takes down Import. No neuroregenesis available anymore. This could be Scandinavia's time to fight, but they're taking so much damage back for it, and Sparrow Only's nowhere near this fight. It's just Flame and Simi trying to hold at this inhibitor.
That's what I said about a minute ago. They need to make sure that the target priority is on Penguin, because if they go for anyone else, Penguin is just going to press R, use that neurogenesis, and that is the fight over. The reaction time from Penguin was brilliant. Just so good. Basically using it at the perfect time. And that invalidated Garlis's the entire attempt to assassinate Julie just failed flat on their face. And once the respawn came through from Julie, they just turned around, got the kills. They did lose Import on the back end, but once again, they got the towers, they got the kills. England ahead. Now the primal Fountain has spawned. England, they don't need any more Fountain buffs. They are just looking for the pure true damage dot on this primal Fountain, as well as stopping Scandinavia. But look on the side, we got Bondrewd and Garlus. They're going to be in that solo side. I think if Bondrewd can just lock down Garlus in lane, which is already not happened, then England can easily look for this. Sparrow Only is in danger.
Sparrow has been playing by himself for quite some time, and Julie is going to remind him why that's not such a great idea in a 5v5 game. Puts him in the dirt. Opens up a nice opportunity around this Fang 2. That's all that England needs. The one pick. They're going to go ahead and surge on this Primal. Guileless and Flame are here looking to try to make something happen, but it's risky. They don't have anything to bait out the Zinx ult, and now Bondrewd on the back's going to make them turn around. Be a pinch if they're not careful. Alito goes on in, but no, they don't pull it over. Now he's stuck in the pit, and so is Flame. That's going to be an easy 2 kills. Disastrous for Scandinavia. Julie gets both and reminds them, hey, buddies, you don't get to jump in here for free.
I was Flame in the pit. I'm assuming he got hit by the blast fire, but the idea was to jump and let Calahuda jump in, pull him back, but that did not happen. Bondrewd is just going to kill another minion. It's called Simi, but he's dead now. Same with Sparrow Only. He's going to die as well. Goodbye to those two. The double carry rate is not going through. Galeless is going for the 1v5. There is Pyro Fountain onto England, and the thing now is level 15, so do you want to go for this one?
It's gonna be a tough one. Guileless links on forward, already used the ult, doesn't get the kill, knocked into the sky, and in an instant Import takes it down. Scandinavia fought, they dug in, but they just couldn't do quite enough. England actually being forced back. I spoke too soon. Flames respawn alongside Calipito. Make them take just a step back, wait for these minions to come up. Buy a little bit more time. They can just buy the time for their team to respawn. They can try again.
5 seconds on Simi, 10 on the Sparrow Only, but there's not going to be enough. There is not enough HP on the core.
Oh, that's it. It's just the minions. It's all they needed. You had 5 seconds, but it was 5 seconds too much. England put down a 2-0 performance and take this set in a clean fashion.
There was a moment, there was a pure moment when Guileless got those kills that we felt that Scandinavia had a chance, and then that bit of an insulator, England put their foot down, said, no, we are one of the favorites of this tournament. We are going to demolish the rest of this game. We're not going to put a foot wrong, and we're going to bait you in time and time again. Use that Zinx ult to perfection, and go home, scream into the core, it's coming home.
For a brief moment, Guileless became the guillotine. And it was a very brief moment indeed. It did not happen again. Once the executes came through, a little bit more respect was paid towards Guileless. A little bit more attention was paid to where he was positioned in those fights. And they just did not allow him to play that game. And it really felt like he didn't have much choice, right? He had to kind of be the one to step forward because they didn't have really a good way to engage those fights. The draft just didn't seem to come together for Scandinavia at the end there.
Yeah, I mean, the draft was very questionable. They looked at the double carry combo. I do understand why they sort of went for it, but you don't have the engage. You have a Victor at best. You have the Whiplash, which is not a guarantee. You have a Face Lance to follow up with, yes, but it's going to be one person. They don't have the subjugate. They don't have a crunch to just dash in like that. So England probably were a better composition as well, and then just able to play as well. Played the map import once again, putting on a show. Bondrude, after an issue in the laning phase against Skyless, was able to come into that mid game, come into Crunch's peak performance and just run people down. And once again, Brandon Knight Julie doing as they did in the first game, getting that downs online. That's what they needed to do, and it was a good zone from England so far.
I think it says a lot that it's hard to point to one single member of Team England that was just a blowout performance. It was so clean from every single person on that team. Sure, the dueling struggled a little bit. As the game went on and the grouping started, they showed that it just did not matter. That's going to do it for Scandinavian England for now. Congratulations to England. They will be moving on. That does it for Spooky and Frauken. We're sending you back to the desk to break this down.
He's coming home.
It's not coming home, but thank you, Spooky and Frauken, for that banger series there. It seemed like Scandinavia was cooking, but unfortunately, England was not hungry. So, boys, I got questions. I actually have a different question for each of you. Junior, I want you to talk to us about what went wrong for Scandinavia in that game 2 specifically. And Mugi, I want you to talk about what went right for them. Why did they come out on top so defiantly?
I mean, I think there are two main causes here. Number one is the draft. Letting Wraith and Zinx through is kind of a sticky one due to the fact that last game, or the game 1, just was exactly that. They lost because Brandon was able to step up, and if he'd be out of position and had anything that would be putting him into lethal or killing, there would be a Zinx to save him. And the Zinx would not just save him, but also other teammates. In this case, going to game 2, them picking a Feng Mao, them having Feng Mao play into a Zinx just completely negated the character. We saw in one fight that if Feng Mao was able to get his ulti resets off, he could just carry. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough, because in the fight later, he got caught at Orb Prime, and that is the biggest second issue in my opinion. Unfortunately, Scandinavia was not able to show that they were, I guess, fierce enough. They weren't the Vikings that we expected them to be. They got a little bit caught left and right on offlane and jungle, which overall just didn't let anyone allowed to play the game.
When it comes to the side of England, what went right? I think there is mainly like two things, and one of those things is not even the rest. Brandon Knight going once again 10, 2, and 11, having a wonderful game. I think what went very well for them is that their ability to be able to pick up target before we get into team fight. And naturally, like you have a Severok and a Crunch, two very long range engaged character against a team that have like 2 carries plus a Rictor, so it's very, very hard to disengage. And so they use that to the perfection. And I think the second thing that really happened for them is like God support Penguin. Like for me, I really would like to give the MVP of that series overall to Penguin, because I think he hasn't missed a single time like the ultimate on Zinx, and he's just like providing so much. Like he's just like always at the right spot, very hard to target. I think he's just the best Zinx player in the world, maybe in contention with Toasty, because Toasty is also like incredible at the character.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the number of matches this guy's played. He's perfect. But so Mugi, you answered my second question. Junior, I got to ask you now. Who do you give the MVP to out of that series?
I was gonna say it after Mugi, but I think we both agree it's Penguin, in my opinion too. Game 1, it just looked like he was able to, I guess, hide behind the Brandon Knight, but in game 2, he was like, nah, it's time to come out of the curtain. You guys have to witness my greatness. And was showing us that Penguin is indeed a savior.
Yeah.
He's playing as good as Mercy in Overwatch. That's what I can say. That's for sure.
Yeah, the Zinx into the Feng Mao is just, it's devastating if you're guileless on that Feng Mao. He can't get his chain up if the Zinx is not focused down first. And I typed it in chat, and I think teams need to start playing this way, but you need to treat Zinx like a phase. You got to get rid of that hero before you do anything else at any point in that early and mid game. But yeah, that was a great set, and I'm excited to see England play in the semifinals tomorrow. As we just had up the bracket there, we saw that the next game that we're casting is going to be the United States Red versus Germany Gold. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, so we're going to be casting US against Germany Gold. The winner of that is going to go up against England head-to-head in the semifinals. And then the last set of today is going to be Italy against Canada. Will the underdogs come out against the North American powerhouse? Who knows? But the winner of that is going to go up, have the pleasure of going up against the current reigning world champions in the France team. So this is going to be a really exciting next half of the day up ahead. So, but before we get into the Germany Gold and US match, it is unfortunately our time to say goodbye. This is the halfway point in the day, so we're actually going to be switching to a whole new desk. So I'm going to let you guys say bye first. Junior, Moogie, plug yourselves, say goodbye, say what you want to say, and then we'll get out of here.
I would just like to say that if you see anything in my interview that makes me seem like a toxic person, okay, don't believe it all. Don't believe it all. And wish us luck against America. Let's go EU. And I'm Junior1, or JN1OOR on the Twitch. If you sometimes want to watch me int it, I'll be sometimes live. Yeah. Goodbye, guys. It was a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, and I can't wait for tomorrow. I will be here as well. But I want to take the chance to thank the people that thought about the interview and also all the players that actually played the game of the interview, because every time we have one, I have a blast watching them, and it's just creates so much kind of beef or good moments. So I want to thank everyone that has been involved with that project.
Yeah, and for those of you at home who don't know, Mugiwawa, he has a Twitch of the same name. He is a fantastic educational content creator. So if you're new to Predecessor, or you're looking, you feel stuck and you're looking for a way to get better, go pop over to his channel when he is live. You will learn at least one thing. I can almost guarantee it. Every time I'm watching, I learn something from it. So pop by. I have not had a chance to catch Junior though, so sorry, Junior. I can't plug you that as strongly.
I'm inting anyways.
Yeah, he says he's inting as he proceeds to carry games as a support player probably. But that's my time here as Dr. Shadow or Dr. Melvin, however you guys want to refer to me. It's been a pleasure to be here. I will be back later. I'm just not going to be host. So I will see you all in a little while. Thanks for joining us. And we're going to pop into a break before Germany and the United States.